Hi, I'm Marcus Pulis, and this is Voluntary Visions. To my right here is Michael Wood, who is also coming on board to help me with the production for Voluntary Visions. He may come and speak to you here and there with his thoughts on voluntarist ideas. This week, what we thought we would do is kind of tell you what we're all about, where we're going with this production, upcoming shows. You guys are already familiar with my Forgotten Freedom Fighters series, where I talk about historical figures that have made an impact towards freedom in the past. And we have some ideas for the future. So I guess maybe I should just turn it over to Michael for a second, let him kind of tell you about himself.
In what context?
Any context. What do you think you could give to the audience?
Okay, so I am a 7-year honorably discharged veteran. I am a computer geek. I do cybersecurity, InfoSec kind of fun stuff in my job, my career. I read quite a bit, and I am very strongly inflamed with the passion for anarchy. I have a strong belief that man is meant to live his life and can only do so if he's free to live his life as he sees fit. And I'm also kind of spiritual in the old philosophical sense. I think that covers me pretty well.
Yeah, and talking about the spiritual sense, one of the things that Michael and I have been working on getting up is we are going to start another show. Both he and I have a interesting spiritual perspective and history, and though most of Voluntary Visions is generally associated with politics or anti-politics, voluntarist ideas, libertarian ideas, those kinds of things, we also want to introduce spiritual ideas as well. And so we have started a project called Aquarian Anarchy, where the two of us kind of just talk about what we think when it comes to religion and spirituality in general.
Yeah, we have the same birthday, and it's in February, so we're both Aquarian.
Yeah, and next week.
Wow.
Yeah. But anyhow, but what is Voluntary Visions? It started off as I have ideas. I have things that I want to express to the world. And I'm using this platform, both on YouTube and BitChute, to share that. But I have a bigger goal for the future. I want to see more of that. And I want to see not only myself, or Michael, or my wife is also, her name is Amber, has also done a couple videos.
Contributed.
Right. And she likely will in the future, because I think a feminine female perspective is a good addition to what we do. And I think that in voluntarist circles, it's relatively rare to have somebody speaking from that perspective. Not that there aren't plenty of very good women voices within the movement. There certainly is.
Why do you think that is? I have a theory. I think that the old anarchists that actually do get together and show themselves in the Libertarian Party or something like that, they are old. And in the older times, I think that men were expected to talk and women were expected to support, which doesn't mean that one role was bigger than another. It's just how they flowed. And but I think as we see anarchy becoming stronger in America, we're going to see more feminine figures take those roles, take those leads.
I agree, and I think that both Michael and I are friends with Adam Kokesh, and something that he has said repeatedly is that the voluntarist movement is actually a feminine movement. It's a movement towards emotional understanding, which is traditionally a feminine trait. It's also about love, and it's about things like peace, which are when we think of those things, we think of them in feminine terms. So those ideas certainly play a role in what we're trying to do here. I personally, when I'm interacting with people, whether it's in the Libertarian Party, other activists, or people who are just anarchists, I try to portray a positive way of dealing with people. Yes, we stand against a lot of things. The state, we stand against violence, we stand against those things. But we also represent things that we are for. And I think it is more important to talk about those things because, people don't get excited to be against something a lot. They want to be for something. I mean, people are going to the voting booth right now voting against Hillary Clinton or voting against Donald Trump. And the reason that Gary Johnson did terrible is because they didn't have anything to vote for. And
right, because if you vote for Gary Johnson, you're voting for either Hillary or Trump. Just whoever's asking you if you're voting for Gary Johnson, whoever they're not voting for, that's who you're voting for by voting for Gary Johnson.
Right.
Which is ridiculous in a free and democratic society.
Right.
It destroys the entire point of it.
Yeah. So part of my activism is representing a positive face for voluntarists, and accepting the idea of anarchy, no rulers. I reach out to any kind of anarchist. I've had several conversations with anarcho-communists, and I'm an anarcho-capitalist. I prefer saying I'm an anarcho-anarchist because I think the economics comes later.
Yeah, I think saying anarcho-capitalist is like saying I'm a Christian and also I bake Rice Krispie treats.
Right.
There's two separate things that you're kind of combining for a simpler label of understanding.
Well, it's just another way to divide people. It's just another way to say the anarchists that think that economics should be centrally controlled by a community are one side, and then people that believe that an economy should be controlled by the individual are another. Who cares? It's anarchist. There's no government. I don't give a damn what you do in your community if you want to do that. But
just to save on confusion there, anarchists can have communities. They can even have governments. It's just not a centralized government.
Right.
I can visit a friend's house, and if I don't like how they always make me take off my shoes and wash my hands every time I touch something, if it gets too strenuous, then I'll go hang out at somebody else's house. And then they're welcome to come along if, that other person invites them over. So, but with America right now, you cannot escape. There is no other house to go to because that house covers the entire nation.
Right. And that's why localization is something that I also believe in.
Sure.
And because the smaller the community, the easier it is to be able to move to some other community. But as we come together as anarchists, people look at, like, for instance, Antifa uses red and black, which is anarcho-communist colors, and they use a big red anarchy symbol. And so it's come to mean anarchy, no rules. But that's not what anarchy means. It means no rulers. And the whole is antithetical to anarchist ideas to be violent. And so the image that's painted of an anarchist is somebody, with a mohawk. Look at me. Is somebody with a mohawk, shooting up heroin, and nothing against mohawks or shooting up heroin, but it's not my choice.
Right. And I think also a lot of people, whenever they hear no rules, it blows their mind a little. But whenever an anarchist says, well, no, I do have rules, that blows their mind even more.
Absolutely.
But the thing of it is I'm an anarchist and I have a rule. I cook my meat before I eat it. This is a rule that I have in my life, and it keeps me healthy and not getting all kinds of horrible bacteria and disease inside my body. Everyone has rules. The important thing is I make this rule for myself, or I adopt this rule for myself because I want to. because I feel like that's going to make me a better, healthier person. But I don't do it because someone is forcing me to.
Right.
And that's the difference.
Yeah, and it generally, people say that we're all about non-aggression. There's truth to that. But it really is non-violent. And don't get me wrong, defense is a whole different ballgame. And I get that people make the differentiation of aggression and defense. But it's still I'm going to try every way I can to not be violent. And maybe I will have to. If you break into my house and go to hurt my kids, I'm going to get a gun and I'm going to shoot you. End of the story. But I'm going to tell you, get the hell out of my house first. I'm going to say, leave. Assuming...
See, I feel like my door being closed.
Me, I'm going to say, get the hell out of my house. If they're not standing there with a gun, then if they're standing there with a gun, then I'm going to shoot them. But my point is that this is a positive message, and it is in the interest of the state and in the interest of governments all over the world to paint us poorly. Emma Goldman, who was an anarcho-communist, said that for aeons, the word anarchy has been associated with evil because that association in people's minds and in society, you don't want to be evil, most people. You want to be good. And so if you associate anarchy or having no government, having no ruler with evil, then you don't have that.
So I feel like that comes from one of two places. Your leaders, the ones that are oppressing you, will naturally say that you're evil for not following the rules. But then why do the subordinates, the bootleggers, if you will, why are they saying it's evil? What I've found is it's actually kind of simple. I'm butthurt because I feel like I have to follow the rules, which makes my life harder and my freedom less. So therefore, shouldn't you have to follow them? I mean, because I'm butthurt, I want to help police other people into that oppression, because if I have to deal with these rules, you have to.
Right. And misery loves company.
Yeah.
And but with Voluntary Visions, our idea is to make these ideas more accessible. I've been doing memes like crazy, putting out. I'm also purposefully, all of this is on purpose. I'm putting out memes that are people from years ago. And the reason is because these are not new ideas. Thomas Paine had these ideas a long time ago. John Locke had similar ideas. He was leading us in this direction a very long time ago. Spooner, these same ideas. Different people in history have had these ideas. And now we need to accept, when people like to deify people like Thomas Paine or Thomas Jefferson, they want to deify them. What they don't connect to, because they think Thomas Jefferson, third president. Okay, but Thomas Jefferson really didn't like government. He really didn't like centralized control. Didn't like armies. Wanted peace. Maybe he wasn't exactly a voluntarist or an anarchist, but boy, he was moving in that direction.
Well, back then, wouldn't it be considered the end thing to do to say, I will take on the burden of being a government figure, but no way like it? Like I heard that George Washington would walk to the White House or walk where he worked instead of being heralded in some kind of carriage. Mm-hmm. It was the end thing to do to say, I am doing this as a duty and not a pleasure.
Right. And if I were alive back then, I wouldn't be a Federalist. I'd be an anti-Federalist. I would be in the same camp as Patrick Henry and give me liberty and give me death. But those Federalists, the people that I'm not, way more anarchists than just about anybody, in government, people like Thomas Massey, Justin Amash, Rand Paul are like way more statist than any of those Federalists were. Way more. And so I want myself to link to that, to share that with people. And through these memes, I'm trying to present that this is a positive message, that anybody with any sense of ethics should be on the side of. Not, talking about, oh, I'm so mad about this or that or the other thing doesn't make people say, I want to be part of that. I want to be mad. But saying, positive things does make people want to join you. So
I don't know if I entirely agree with that. There are a lot, and I think this happened in the last decade, where people are, okay, they don't want to be angry at other people, but it's easy to call someone a racist. You don't need evidence. But as soon as you're accused of being a racist, there's no way to prove that you're not. Not to anybody in modern times that would call you a racist. There's just no way to prove it that you're not. But it's simple to prove that you are. So I think that people are joining these groups of calling everyone a racist and being angry about it so that other people don't call them one. It's almost preemptive offense.
Yeah, and what I'm doing is the same thing, more or less. What I'm doing is saying, okay, you want to be on the side of ethics. You want to be on the side of peace. You want to be on the side of love. You want to be on the side of, freedom. Instead of, just talking about it, demonstrating it. That's what voluntarists do. That's what we do, is we show it. We don't just talk about it. We live it. We don't try to push our way on other people. We don't do that. We live our lives as voluntarists.
Sometimes I laugh at people whenever they're being a bootlicker. I do that. Sometimes I will even allow them to understand that they are being a bootlicker, especially if they're being offensive to me. But he's right. I never try to force them not to. I just laugh at what they're presenting because it's so ridiculous.
Right, and that's another idea that we are moving forward with. As our production continues to grow and we continue to get more equipment, one of the things we're planning on doing is doing stick mic interviews where we're going to confront police. We're going to go and we're going to say, what do you think about legalization of marijuana? What do you think about police violence? What do you think about, and put the mic in their face. And even if we get them caught saying, oh, I don't want to talk about it. Okay, why don't you want to talk about it? And we're not the first people to do this. We will not be the last, but we will be doing it. And I also want to go and, we're both members of a nature preserve. Lots of liberals are there. I want to challenge them. Why do you think government's the solution? Wouldn't it be better to do this and catch them on camera? And make them think, because they're on camera, why am I violently using government to control people?
And I think the secret of that is actually kind of easy. I think for the past 2 decades, 3, 4, 5, 6 decades, probably for the past century, the more I think about it, the bigger it gets, we've been taught that the government is there to protect certain things. The government is on this side and the bad guys are on this side, and the government protects us from these horrible people that are out to litter in your nature preserve and stuff like that, and we've just accepted it. And now once you think past it, it makes perfect sense, but that thinking past it can be really difficult for people. It's a knee-jerk reaction. Yeah. And they don't want to say, well, what I've believed for the past 30 years might not be true.
Right, and the way that we're going to present it to them isn't by, you must believe this way. It's going to be, okay, let's have a conversation with these people and help them find their way to, oh, maybe this isn't the best way to do this. Maybe the government, and most of them already know this. Most of them already know that the police are on their ass. Most of them know they hate paying their taxes. Most of them already know that. They just have to be shown that how you solve those problems isn't with what caused it. So that's one of the projects that we're moving forward with as well. Mykl is also a web designer, and if you're interested in having a website, he's got a business, contact us.
It's at
comment.
Oathstone.com.
There you go, and he can help you. But we're going to have a website soon where we will be covering this, where we will invite any voluntarist who wants to work together. The key is that we are not about dividing the movement. We're about bringing the movement together. There are people within the movement that I disagree with. but that doesn't mean they aren't on my side. We are about bringing them together, about bringing voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians together in order to help each other make the world a better place. So we have some projects I'm not quite ready to talk about yet that we're going to be moving forward with. But we will have a website very soon, and we're also going to have a store. Pretty soon you're going to be able to buy t-shirts with these ideas. You're going to be able to buy something that says Voluntary Visions, and maybe it's got a quote by Thomas Paine, or maybe it's got a quote by who knows who. Mercy Otis Warren. Maybe it's got a picture of Harriet Tubman on it. People that have influenced freedom throughout history. Also, people and ideas moving forward.
So I think since we are talking about VB, I think Voluntary Visions, I think that we should go ahead and tell the audience the one caveat that we have for posting on there. Because as an anarchist, okay, we came to this really strange position where we can't just let someone come on to Voluntary Visions and start trashing all kinds of other stuff, because that's not what this is. So whenever you come to Voluntary Visions and you use that brand, you can't be trashing other people, because it's about finding common ground.
Other voluntarists, anarchists.
Other voluntarists.
You can trash the state all day.
Yeah, well, the state, exactly, which isn't a person, believe it or not. So, but in order to make that happen, we would have to make rules as rulers. So this caused a big problem philosophically with how we're going to make this one thing work. And I'm pretty sure, and I'll definitely want you to speak on this too, but what we've come to is you make a voluntarist agreement. As you use the platform that's being offered to you, you voluntarily say, I will not go trashing other people and muddling Voluntary Visions.
Right. If you want to do it outside of Voluntary Visions, okay, do that, but not here. You know, I'm not trying to control what you do in your life. I'm trying to control how our platform is used, because we're about bringing people together, not tearing people apart. And now, let's say you have a YouTube channel, and as this website evolves, because there's going to be several steps. We have lots of plans, like I said, and I'm not trying to get into all of that yet, because it may be months down the road.
It's a lot of work for me.
Right. I get to draw a lot. You know, but let's say you have a YouTube channel and you want to link it into Voluntary Visions. That's fine. You can do that. On your YouTube channel, don't trash other voluntarists, or remove the link to your YouTube channel. And because, again, this is about helping each other out. If someone who's voluntarist, like I said, I have a friend named Cody, and let's say that somebody doesn't like Cody and they want to go after him. Okay, don't use me to do it. You know, don't use this platform that we've started to attack Cody. I don't care if you attack Cody, that's on Cody, but I'm not going to be part of that.
So what makes this voluntarist instead of what makes it anarchist? What makes it not have any rulers instead of a centralized or kind of platform, status kind of platform? And the difference is you don't have to use voluntarist visions. If you feel in your heart like attacking other people is the way for you to be, I have no say in that. Marcus has no say in that. We honestly probably don't care. Probably not even gonna watch videos. It's just dust in the wind to us. But whenever you use this platform, you're taking on that agreement, and that's exactly what voluntarism is.
Yeah. So I think we've pretty much covered what we are. Do you have anything that you would like to add?
Ooh, closing remarks. That's always a open-ended one. I look forward to making more content. I tend to have very strong beliefs. Yes, I do. And it's going to be fun for me to make content that will hopefully have people thinking about stuff in a different direction than what the mainstream makes you think.
Absolutely. Now, as with any other video, please like, share, and if you're watching this on BitChute, there's a little green button. Hit that. We'd love to have, remember we're talking about getting, neither one of us are independently wealthy. Both of us have jobs outside of this. And it'd be great to be able to improve our production. We have ideas, and that's what it's going to take is ideas. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.